Well, well, well. Look what is back, ladies and gentlemen. God, you can tell how long it's been since I've made a commentary, haven't you? 3 seconds in, I've already fucked it up. But it's F1 2015. It's career mode, or what Codemasters like to call career mode in inverted commas. It's round 13. It's Singapore. And there is the championship affair after the first 12 rounds. Now, it has to be said, this episode was actually recorded pretty much straight after the last episode, but it's been a dog-awful time since I played this game, so I cannot remember for the life of me what happened in this race, other than it's a load of bullshit. As you can see, it's heavy rain. We've barely had any rain during this entire championship, apart from, I think it was the qualifying at Austria, I think, was the last time we had any form of rain, but of course, as soon as we move to the most challenging track on the circuit, possibly, and one of those that last the longest, we get the full wet conditions. Of course we do. Thanks, Codemasters. Thanks a lot. So yeah, it's our driving shouldn't be too bad. Like I say, we did this race when we were in our prime of playing F1 2015, so it's not like we're jumping onto a brand new game. But we are going to be jumping straight into qualifying. As you can see there, the rain is forecast. Only one droplet of rain there on the monitor for some reason. Clearly not expecting heavy rain, even though it most definitely is. So some textbook Codemasters style stuff there. As we now cut to our first lap in qualifying, you just see out of the exit of whatever turn this is, just how bad the traction is in these conditions. Just cannot get the power down, even the high end gears. It's just constant armfuls of oversteer. It's scraping our ass along the wall there as we come down that straight. But at the end of the first lap, see Rosberg's already banged in a 57.9. Our first lap, nowhere near that really, a 59.5, which has somehow put us first, even though it was a lot slower. Cheers, life. Down to P7 now as Rosberg's improved. We are going to improve as well by almost a second, moving up to P6 at this stage. Completing yet another lap because we're greedy and we like to do all the laps in qualifying. Another improvement there, up to P4 at this stage, just 7/10 off pole position. You can see from our sectors, we're there or thereabouts, so we're losing quite a lot, well, most of the time in the first sector. But as we come around our final lap here, we're actually only 3/10 off Rosberg's time, so we're looking to improve here. Our final sector's technically been our strongest as far as I'm aware. But as you can see, Hulkenberg, the gypsy, just chilling on an out lap, not even on a fast lap. He's still got time. Nope, technically he hasn't got time. He can't even start a lap. The checker flag's already out. He's just out to troll. Mercedes are giving him the Mercedes engine to say, here you go, lad, go fuck up Verstappen's lap. So here he is, just sitting on the racing line constantly as I'm coming through the final sector, giving me all that dirty air, giving me all the understeer, losing me grip as we come round the final couple of corners. And we've actually come unbelievably close to beating Rosberg, but missed out by 0.07 of a second. So cheers, Hulkenberg. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Complete and absolute Jippo, but it's P2, it's a front row start for us nonetheless. Could have been pole, but it's not. But we'll be at least starting ahead of our championship rival Lewis Hamilton, way ahead of those guys. Crofty can shut the fuck up because he's probably talking a load of shit. I couldn't care less. You got the subtitles at the bottom. It probably doesn't translate to what he's actually saying in typical Codemasters fashion, but you know, make of it what you will. The thing you need to know is we're on the front row, Rosberg's on pole, Hamilton's behind us, and then you've got 2 Ferraris. No real standout performances there. Everyone's pretty much where you'd expect them to be, except maybe Kvyat, who's shit himself in the rain and qualified outside the top 10. As you can see, Merry getting disqualified, multiple penalties, so basically 5 people not even setting a lap. Don't know what the fuck's going on there. Carlos Sainz is one of them. Cheers, teammate, really good, doing a good job for trying to push for P2 in that Constructors' Championship. Oh good, look, it's race time and we have more rain. Fuck me. Seriously? Good. Can't wait. 31 laps. Yep, longest race of the season in the dry, let alone in the rain. Oh, good. So at this stage, I think from what I can remember, I was sitting there thinking, it's probably the most traction-dependent circuit. Rear tyre wear is an absolute nightmare. In the rain, that's only going to be exacerbated by far, or by more amounts, whatever the right term is going to be after you follow the word exacerbated. So yeah, I was thinking, definitely going to be at least one stopping. Depending on how they are in the first stint, we'll see how they go. You want to get that undercut. Fresh tyre. Wow, look at those penalties. Good job, AI. But yeah, fresh tyres in these conditions really do make a massive difference. And on a track like this, where you're constantly, low speed corners, that low speed traction, the front end bite is going to be pretty critical around such a long lap. Nearly 2 minutes for a lap here. which is now looking at being over an hour's worth of race time. Cheers. Can't wait. But yeah, there is the strategy. The game is suggesting a one-stop. Why it seems to think in a 31 lap race that you need to go to lap 19 or 20 and not around half distance, which would make a lot of sense in a lot of people's eyes, I don't know. The game isn't particularly good, let's face it. But that's what it's thinking. But that's pretty much confirmed to me that I'm going to be, one-stopping. Try and do it, just for half distance. It's 31 laps, so end of lap 15. Make a pit stop, get new tyres on, lighter fuel. They'll go to the end. But now it's race time. We're going into lead to try and get good traction. 5 lights are on. And lights are out. Engineers decided to talk to us. Good job, mate. As we're now getting a pretty dog shit start, as per usual. Hamilton comes flying around the outside, but we're having absolutely none of it. Late on the brakes, getting back up into P2 and following Rosberg through the opening sequence of corners. Hamilton's actually dropped down because he is our closest title rival, so that's good for us. As you can see, now riding on board with Vettel, who started in P4. Nope, mate, call it, I'm lying. P5. Hamilton going very wide there, the two Ferraris getting very close, and Hamilton, as he keeps on the track, making contact with Vettel, them two slow each other up, Raikkonen's up into P3, Hamilton down to P4, lovely stuff. So, cutting to the end of lap 1, you see the gap there, a fraction under a second, as we now cut to the end of the next lap, and it's a fraction over a second. And as we watch the same lap again, because I'm shit at editing, it's the same gap as it was before, and the end of the next lap, it's 1.1. So as you can see, very close on times between me and Rosberg, as it was in qualifying, setting up for what should be a really intense race. But as you come to lap 8, I've got the thing on the screen there on the right, and you can see there's absolute bugger all tyre wear. So I'm wondering, have I got the assists on? Is this right? But yep, look, Legend AI. That means no assist is pretty much what's going on here. As you can see there, everything is off. Tyre wear is on, but in full wet conditions on the most rear traction dependent circuit, the game's just giving me no tyre wear. So I'm wondering, is this a bug? Am I going to be able to go the whole race on one set of tyres? As you see, lap 15 comes around and the rear tyres are starting to go off now. Rosberg's getting that little bit of the gap as our lap times are dropping off and we're struggling to put the power down. So I'm thinking, okay, after not quite halfway race distance, as we pretty much crash into the pit lane. Tyres are pretty bad. That's only going to get worse as the traction becomes worse and worse. They'll wear faster and faster. You know the deal. So I'm thinking, yeah, let's go. Let's put some tyres on. Get that undercut for Rosberg when he comes in. Bish, bash, bosh. 2.5. It's a bit wet out. I'll let them off for that one. It's a pretty bad stop. Let's be honest. But yeah, down to P6. So quite a big field spread here. There's a few other cars in the pit lane. And by a few others, I'm obviously mentioning plural there. There's one other car in the pit lane. Oh no, somebody else has joined in. That's good. That's saved my vocabulary, my English there. But as you can see, stone cold tyres. Excellent. Cannot wait to try and heat them up over the next lap, as I'm probably going to crash into every barrier going. But as we come to the end of that lap, front tyres still not up to temperature. Rear tyres already overheating. Absolutely piss all traction. I have no idea what this game thinks it's doing. As just going to point out, two Ferraris ahead in the pit lane. Mercedes have not pitted. I've nearly crashed again on fresh tyres. But now the alarm bells are ringing. I'm like, why are the Mercedes not pitting? What is going on? Why is Ricciardo not pitted? What's happening? Lap 20 comes around. They still haven't pitted. I've caught up to Ricciardo, luckily. As Mary's decided that disqualification in qualifying is not enough to top off his weekend. He needs to be disqualified from the race, so he's just going to ignore every blue flag going. Although driving around doesn't even look like there's any blue flags waving. So cheers, Codemasters, once again, tip-top job. Love your game. So yeah, Ricciardo being blocked, an absolute treat by Mary. Good job. I've cruised up to the back of him. We're going to look up the inside of him here as Mary still decides to absolutely fuck Ricciardo over. And we're through. That's P3. We're back onto the podium. Mary then decides, oh, what's that? It's Verstappen behind me. Okay, go on, son. Through you go. Thanks a lot. But he's still going to block Ricciardo, as I think those two have actually just crashed behind. So yeah, lap 31 rolled around, and I'm like, okay, so tyre wear clearly hasn't really made a part. My lap times were absolutely awful. Also, just ran out of fuel. Thanks for telling me I'm on optimal. Thanks a lot. So optimal fuel now means running out, more than halfway, or sorry, less than halfway around the final lap. Excellent. So yeah, at this point I was just absolutely fuming. I'd just driven an hour's worth of this absolute horse game, only to find that, as I mentioned numerous times, on the most traction dependent circuit in the most slippery of conditions, that the AI's tyre weight have managed to or some of the AI managed to no-stop this race. The thing that was most infuriating for me was the fact that I pitted, put on the same compound of tyre, the conditions are the same compound of tyre as I was on for the first half of the race, and my times were just awful. I was about 2 seconds a lap slower than what I was doing at the start of the race, even though everything was the same except I was on less fuel. It made absolutely zero sense. And it was the final nail in the coffin in terms of me giving up on this game. So all the shit that goes on before. Rosberg's won, GG, couldn't care less. Hamilton's finished second, yeah, well done. But yeah, it's just like, really? So everything that goes on with this game, and then this just tops it off. And I was like, nah, I can't be asked anymore. But I came around the final corner at 90 miles an hour, I've nearly crashed. I've got no fuel, and I'm nearly crashing. But we've come in for P3. That's the Singapore race. It was extremely entertaining, as you can see. I basically started, I pitted, and I finished. I overtook Ricciardo. Excellent. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this season. Obviously, I want to hear your guys' opinions on whether you want this to be completed or what, whether you're bored of F1 like everyone else is, or whether you do want to see this through to the end and see if Max Verstappen can become champion. I don't know. I haven't played it since the multiple patches that have come out, so I really don't know if we're actually going to be any good at the game anymore. But, we're in a decent position as far as I can see. I mean, we've finished P3 here. Hamilton, who was our closest target rival, I believe, has only just finished now up the road, so he's only gained 3 points on us, so I believe we're still leading the championship. But yeah, as you can see, I think our best lap 58.0, we set that pretty early on, and like I say, despite pitting and putting on better tyres, we were much slower every single lap after that stage. As you can see here, I was just checking Rosberg's times to see if he actually had any drop off, and you can see as the race went on, yes, his tyres did drop off, which I was expecting. The thing I wasn't expecting was the fact that once I pitted, my lap times were going to be just as shit, if not shitter than his, even though they shouldn't have been, because I should have been faster than when I was at the start of the race by being on lighter fuel, but I wasn't. So that's that. So yeah, there we go, leading the championship by 11 points over Hamilton. Rosberg, not doing too great. Obviously, a few rounds still to go. He could turn that around, but it's unlikely because, gusts and wind and everything. But that's the championship standing. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, whether you want to see this continue or whether you just can't be asked because you're bored like I am with the game. But thank you for watching this episode. It's kind of good to be back, but obviously it's F1 after all. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully.